Hi, I'm Kelly Kramer.
And I'm Scott Sipker. Welcome to Central Iowa.
And our latest edition of Iowa Outdoors. Coming up on this episode of Iowa Outdoors.
We followed the construction of Des Moines' first flow trail.
Visit an urban eyesore turned recreation site.
Take to the skies over Lake Red Rock.
Learn to shoot, fish, and row with Eastern Iowa youth.
And explore another trail in a minute.
We'll have all that and more.
So sit tight. Iowa Outdoors is about to begin.
Funding for Iowa Outdoors is provided by the Claude P. Small, Catherine Small Cousins, and William Carl Cousins Fund at the Lincoln Way Community Foundation in Clinton County to support nature programming on Iowa Public Television.
And by the Alliant Energy Foundation. Many of Iowa's natural wonders you'll find on Iowa Public Television can be found in Iowa Outdoors Magazine, the Iowa DNR's premier resource for conservation, education, and recreation activities. Subscription information can be found online at iowadnr.gov.
Adventure in the outdoors comes in many different forms.
Today we'll see the outdoors through the eyes of grade schoolers experiencing a great deal of what it has to offer, as well as visit a well-known Iowa landfill turned recreation destination.
But first, strap on your bike helmets. We're about to go for a wild ride.
Mountain biking continues to gain in popularity, and now riders can enjoy a series of trails that are the first of their kind in Central Iowa.
They're called flow trails, described as bike-powered roller coasters made of dirt. And we followed along from the very beginning as the crew built the trails at Ewing Park in Des Moines. There's speed, jumps, and an adrenaline rush. It didn't take long for mountain bikers to fall in love with the new flow trails at Ewing Park on the southeast side of Des Moines.
It's fun. It's nothing like it, anything else out here in Iowa, that's for sure.
It's very invigorating, and I found myself holding my breath for some of those jumps. So you can definitely get some speed, and it is a real good flow.
A flow trail is gravity fed. Your momentum carries you downhill from start to finish without stopping, on a trail with smooth banked turns and no unforeseen obstacles. It's a common type of trail in places like Colorado, but not around here.
It was fun, a lot of fun. Fast, flowing, a lot different than the mountain bike trails, so definitely a good added thing for Des Moines, Iowa.
We've featured other mountain biking trails on Iowa Outdoors, but this time we're showing you the creative and construction processes in the works. We're following along as James Flatten and his crew from Single Track Trails in Colorado dig, scoop, pile, and mold the dirt flow trails, transforming the grass and trees on this Ewing Park hillside into an entertaining downhill adventure.
Oh yeah, I love it, definitely. I've been building jumps and whatnot since I was a wee lad though. So I just have always done it, always shaped dirt, always liked shaping stuff. So I guess the whole creative aspect of it's cool. You know, not a lot of feature, you know, as far as natural features in the ground. Being able to bring in dirt, shape it into a nice, that's going to be something fun, that looks nice, is another part of it. And then just getting people in the woods or out on a trail is good too, you know. That part of it's really rewarding.
The crew starts with a rough plan, wrapping turns around trees, using natural features, and hauling in load after load of dirt to create new berms, tabletops, and rollers. Ideas develop and change as construction progresses.
So there'll be 4 total that go down, and then 1 that pedals back up from the bottom. Figuring out, well, do we want to step up here or step down or just do some rollers, or, you know, what's the angle of this berm, how tight is it going to be? All that stuff kind of changes as it kind of starts to take shape, and you start at the top and start working your way down.
It's important for James to hop on his own bike and test ride the trail features as he goes, to make sure he's getting the desired results. He uses his expertise as a rider to know if a turn needs to be tweaked or when a jump is just right.
When you have jumps or something that's kind of speed sensitive, it's definitely good to give some test rides and just to make sure, 'cause everywhere you work, the dirt's going to be different, it has different speeds. Definitely changed some things as we went, and for that reason, mainly get to building some stuff. You're like, oh, I have more or less speed than I thought. We should do this, that, or the other to compensate for that.
Central Iowa Trails Association, or CETA, raised the roughly $30,000 to build the flow trails. The nonprofit organization oversees several single-track or natural surface trails in central Iowa. The city still owns the Ewing Park land, but CETA will take care of the trails. An ongoing and important job, as dirt flow trails require more maintenance than many other trails.
I would say that in the experienced biking community, people are very familiar with this concept and would definitely be excited to have it locally. But I think there'll be a whole nother, and this is our hope, another contingent of riders, kids, my own kids, getting them out on this kind of trail and experiencing something new.
Experts recommend using a bike with beefier tires. Definitely not a road bike. But you don't necessarily need top-of-the-line suspension or technical equipment popular on rocky, higher elevation trails. These trails are designed for beginner and intermediate level riders. If you're an experienced rider, there's enough here to enjoy. And if you're new to the sport, it's a great place to learn, grow, and challenge yourself.
It's fast, and you have to keep your speed or else you're going to get a lot of air, which I'm not necessarily used to.
That's the excitement of doing it, though, I think sometimes, is that adrenaline of not necessarily being completely afraid, but at least on edge that, something exciting's happening.
You definitely just want to keep your eyes up and just stay loose on your bike and just kind of let the design of the trail dictate where you're going. You don't have to really force anything. It's there for you. You just got to go with the flow and go,
I would just say take it at your own comfort speed, and don't be ashamed to slow down if you have to.
It's like a skier going and wanting to ride the Black Diamond because it's cool, it looks sweet, everyone wants to do that, but you should definitely just take your time and work on your braking skills, work on your cornering, all that kind of, have those good mechanics down before you try the harder stuff, and your life will be prolonged.
The idea for these trails began years before they finally became reality. But now, whether you're a novice slowly learning the ropes or an adventure seeker looking to catch some air, you don't have to travel far. James calls it dirt surfing, and now he's built a place for you to do it right here in central Iowa.
Is it kind of a thrill?
Oh yeah, especially when you get air. That's one of the best feelings in the world right there.
I think it's pretty sweet, man. The community will be happy. A lot of them come out of there kind of glowing, I guess you could call it. Really just happy. Good amount of adrenaline in them, just having a good time. And I think they're going to have a lot of fun for a while.
Along the banks of the Cedar River rests a monolith of man-made waste slowly rising for decades. When historic floods ravaged Cedar Rapids in 2008, the pile grew larger, and an unlikely outdoor opportunity began to take shape.
Amid our state's second-largest metro area, the story of Mount Trashmore serves as a lesson in ingenuity and perseverance.
Resting along the southern edge of Iowa's second most populous city, a large mound juts out along the horizon. Overlooking the Cedar River and the nearby Czech village in Cedar Rapids, this hill is intertwined with the history of this eastern Iowa valley. For a half-century, this mound, affectionately dubbed Mount Trashmore by local residents, was the final destination for the city's garbage and solid waste. Considered by many residents as an unsightly trash pile on the horizon, this man-made mountain reached its planned expiration date in the early 2000s. Landfills are often capped and monitored for decades by the Iowa DNR as the waste underneath breaks down and slowly emits methane.
Our Mount Trashmore is a closed and capped landfill in Cedar Rapids, opened back in 1965. Formerly was a quarry that was used to take in garbage. We used to hear from folks all the time who tell us, I actually drive down in there to drop off the garbage, and over the years, it's gone up and gone up.
The region's trash would be shifted to a new facility northeast of Cedar Rapids, but an unexpected natural disaster would change everything. In the summer of 2008, a deluge of moisture upstream sent the Cedar River to record levels. The unprecedented rush of water flooded downtown, ravaged the historic Czech village, and decimated nearby neighborhoods. As devastating as the floods were, the reality of cleanup was far more impactful long term. River water was entrenched in buildings for days, meaning entire neighborhoods would require complete demolition. After years of local, state, and federal government negotiation with landowners, the enormous task of solid waste disposal became clear. Many of the neighborhoods stood at the foot of now closed Mount Trashmore. A state exemption allowed the Solid Waste Agency to reopen the landfill.
It actually closed back in 2007, and then the floods of 2008 hit Cedar Rapids. And we realized for cleanup efforts, it'd be a lot faster if folks could use that location down there because it was right in the middle of all of it. We got permission from the governor of Iowa to reopen it. And then for 4 years, from 2008 to 2012, it took in over 420,000 tons of debris from the floods of 2008.
An endless parade of dump trucks began trekking entire neighborhoods of debris up the hill. An incredible 430,000 additional tons of debris were added to the pile, raising the man-made mountain an additional 30 feet high before it was capped once again.
So after the floods, we're talking homes, anything that basically was damaged by the floods. So many neighborhoods in Cedar Rapids just aren't there anymore. Just outside the gates of the landfill down there, the former landfill, all the homes that were in the Czech Village area, those have been raised, part of a green zone now. So there's homes in there, there's businesses. Basically, it's people's memories and their lives.
A decade after the historic floods, a new recreation vision is taking shape on the infamous and highly visible landfill. The region's Solid Waste Agency has spearheaded an effort to transform a mountain of trash into a majestic overlook.
Mount Trashmore can't be out of sight or out of mind. It is a visual reminder whenever you're in downtown Cedar Rapids, you look up and you can see it. So it's something that our board of directors has been thinking about for years. They knew that it was going to be closing, and so they had some plans talking about some different ideas. Before the floods, there's actually a day that we let people go ski down it and do some sledding, knowing that we couldn't really do that realistically in the future, but just to show the people that there was going to be a future use for it. But then when the floods hit, that kind of all got put to the back burner because we had to deal with the cleanup. But once it was closed and capped again in 2012, that was something that was a focus of our board right away. Like, how do we turn around and make this, this destination in Cedar Rapids, this something that you can't miss? How do we make this something that for the public that we can use, make it accessible, and make it something that can be part of the community?
The new Mount Trashmore will have winding walking trails up to what some locals call the best view of Cedar Rapids. Plans are underway to build mountain bike trails for area adrenaline junkies to mix with the casual outdoor explorer seeking a photogenic moment.
We have our scenic overlook that's at the top of it with a pergola overlooking the Cedar River, beautiful view of downtown Cedar Rapids. And right now construction is underway on the trail system. So there's going to be a walking trail, a 5,000-foot walking trail that will go from the base, work its way up to the top. And then we also have the service road that people will either walk or take their bikes up to the top. And once they get up there, there's going to be what's called a flow trail for bicyclists to go back down. And it's going to be a green level flow trail. So not quite the basic, not the most advanced, but it'll be a fun ride for the bicyclists.
The landfill is permanently closed now, and pipes surrounding the giant mound will emit methane for decades to come. But planners hope Mount Trashmore becomes one of the liveliest spots in the entire Cedar River Valley.
This will be a chance for the community, for the people who did lose those things in the flood. They can come back in there and they can see, yeah, we left a lot of things in the past, but the future is very bright.
Mount Trashmore may be the clearest sign yet of a city coming to grips with a natural disaster and turning a nightmare into a public park. A mountain of trash that serves as a monument to history with a practical purpose. Only in Cedar Rapids can you stand on the garbage of the past half-century, enjoy the sights and sounds of nature, and take in the best view in town. Some spots offer an excellent opportunity to see Iowa with 360-degree views. As awesome as these views can be, you're still held in that one position. Well, if you have the right equipment, there's no limitations to what you can see. That is, if you view Iowa by air. Set just a few hundred feet off the banks of Lake Red Rock, the Cordova Tower rises above the relatively flat landscape of central Iowa. It provides visitors with views unattainable anywhere else in Marion County. With over 50,000 acres of land and water to explore, Lake Red Rock is Iowa's largest lake. And while Cordova Tower is an excellent way to take it all in, it pales in comparison to sights afforded to those who take to the sky. Dammed in the late 1960s, Red Rock Reservoir artificially created much of the lake's shoreline. Even so, the hypnotic mix of its time-eroded sandstone and gently cresting waves invites visitors to explore the area and uncover the unique secrets of every rock ledge. While initially developed for flood control, Lake Red Rock is a recreational gift to Iowa. And if you can't fly over its many treasures, the Cordova Tower offers an excellent way to climb into the sky and see Iowa by air.
Think back to your first outdoor experience that really formed your love for nature. Did you discover it on your own? Or did someone usher you there and open your eyes to everything the outdoors has to offer?
At Jackson County's annual Youth Outdoor Skills Day, children are provided with the perfect venue to try their hand at a plethora of activities that might change the course of their lives.
Welcome everyone to our annual Youth Outdoor Skills Day. Volunteers here today that are going to lead the activities. These are people that are knowledgeable about what these skills, that are active paddlers or geocachers or bow hunters and things like that.
For years, Jackson County Conservation has held the belief the best way for the next generation to embrace the outdoors is for the previous generations to show them all the joy nature offers. And so its annual Youth Outdoor Skills Day offers a bridge between community members and children to discover a few of the more hands-on outdoor activities.
We have all sorts of kids come out. It's really kind of fun to see. Some of the kids, their parents are actively involved in outdoor recreation. You know, their families go hunting and go paddling and do things outdoors. So, of course, those parents want to expose their kids as much as possible. I also see a lot of families where maybe the parents don't do these things, but they want their kids to learn it and to try something different and new. And so it's a good opportunity for them to come out because they may not have the equipment or the gear themselves. And so on a day like today, they can come out and try these things.
So with perfect weather, kids are presented with a half dozen activities that might follow them the rest of their lives, whether it's bow hunting, shooting, geocaching, paddling, or even first aid. Any and all of these skills can become lifelong pursuits.
We do offer different things each year. Kids seem to enjoy the canoeing, kayaking, archery, and the shooting, so we continue those every year. And then some of our other activities are just kind of vary throughout the years. It's not just learning the skill, it's learning how to be safe.
Does anybody know anything about gun safety, or are you all new? Tell me what you know.
And each station is run by volunteers who have logged years participating in their sport. Some even come from organizations with a long-standing interest in promoting the outdoors.
I'm with the Maquoketa Valley Ikes. Jess asked if we could help with the shooting sports event of it. We've also got chapter members down here teaching the archery. But I have been trained through 4-H as a shooting sports instructor and Iowa DNR Scholastic Clay Target program as a shotgun instructor. Plus, I just like shooting. Boom! It's a fun sport.
You got it!
It's a safe sport that requires you to think at all times.
Safety is one of the main takeaways from the event. For nearly all participants, the Skills Day will be the first time holding a firearm or bow and arrow, and understanding all they're capable of and how to properly handle these weapons is paramount.
Well, safety is always number one issue, and the bow is safer than a gun in that it can't go off unless you pull it back. Pull it back. With archery, there's basically two types of shooters. One are target shooters. I'm a hunter, and I've hunted for over 40 years. If they get interested in it young, they're more apt to carry through.
And success for the day, well, it's not exactly becoming a marksman.
This is what we're aiming for. We're close, so you're somewhere in here.
That's the success. They had
That's what it looks
right?
like. Right?
Yeah, some hit the bullseye. We had a couple of kids hit bullseyes. We had almost everybody hit the target. Some shot her in the weeds. That's okay. The biggest thing was the smiles that were on their faces. They enjoyed it immensely, and that's what matters to me. So.
What's this? Flashlight.
Looks like a geocache container.
No, it's a geocache.
Off the range, the activities are much more relaxed. And while it may not involve bullseyes or triggers, sports like fishing can churn up just as much passion.
I used to do the hunting a lot and things like that, but I just kind of focused my life on one thing, and that was fishing. And, you know, during the summer, I like the fishing. During the winter, I kind of recoup, clean up all my fishing equipment from the summer. And the interpretive center here, I'll grab a bunch of their poles. I'll take them, clean them up, get them ready for next year for the kids.
Keith Diltz is a dedicated fisherman, and he takes great pride in lending his expertise to Jackson County, especially its youth.
I'm an avid fisherman. I just like taking kids fishing, like teaching them about fishing. Once they get out here, they have fun. Some of these kids hadn't casted a pole before today, and after 2 or 3 attempts, they're doing great, and they're out here. So we're trying to get them more involved in the outdoors.
Here, everybody come touch this quick here. Just come feel it quick. It kind of feels like a beanbag, doesn't it?
For some children, a single experience will light a fire inside them that will burn their whole lives for the outdoors. But Jackson County Conservation knows for lasting success, events like the Youth Outdoor Skills Day need to be frequent and interactive to truly build a community of future outdoor enthusiasts.
Jackson County is a rural county, and I feel like most people enjoy going outside. You know, we've got some great parks. Hunting is a popular activity here in Jackson County.
Get your left arm out.
Some of these kids go to schools here in the county, and our education staff go to the schools with outreach programs throughout the school year. So we get to know these kids, you know, over time. They come out for our day camps, public events, and as well as the classroom presentations. So nice to get to know them and expose them over and over to some outdoor and environmental things.
One more thing about safety.
And counties across the state share the drive to educate local youth on the wonders of nature. So if you don't live near Jackson County, don't feel like you're missing out. If you're hoping to take a child in your life on a guided trip through the outdoors, the solution might be a quick phone call to your local conservation office.
It's time for IPTV's Trail in a Minute, where we show you a first-person view of a different Iowa hiking, biking, or water trail each episode. It's a great way to relive a previous outdoor experience or plan a future adventure. And it's a pretty cool way to view the Iowa outdoors. Take a look. If you find yourself getting bored fishing, boating, and swimming at Blackhawk State Park, maybe hop on a bike. The area offers a perfect 6.5-mile loop around the lake. While there are stretches of bike path and sidewalk, the majority of the loop is on the road, so caution should be used when pedaling around the lake. As your ride continues, so will the views, from the lake, trees and wetlands, to homes and row crops. Blackhawks Campgrounds is one of the largest you'll find in the state park system. With modern amenities, all kinds of recreation possibilities, and plenty of lakefront views. Eventually, the path will cut between docks and lakefront homes, a peaceful ride that will make almost anyone envious of the locals. Once you reach the east and northern edge of the lake, you'll come across the public beachfronts, in case you need to cool off. In the home stretch of the loop, you'll learn how the lake received its name before you ride through town.
And while this ride is coming to a close, for those looking for a real challenge, a 33-mile trail awaits. But that's an entirely different trail in a minute.
That wraps up this episode of Iowa Outdoors. We encourage you to get outside and enjoy Iowa's parks and recreational opportunities. If you're planning any outdoors travel, check out our extensive video archive of adventures at iptv.org/Iowa Outdoors.
While our episodes will continue to bring you outdoor adventures over the Iowa airwaves, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for extended features and extra content. And feel free to tag Iowa Outdoors in your online posts. Who knows, you might make it onto the show. For now, we'll leave you with more images of Iowa's outdoor environments.
Funding for Iowa Outdoors is provided by the Claude P. Small, Catherine Small Cousins, and William Carl Cousins Fund at the Lincoln Way Community Foundation in Clinton County to support nature programming on Iowa Public Television.
And by the Alliant Energy Foundation. Many of Iowa's natural wonders you'll find on Iowa Public Television can be found in Iowa Outdoors Magazine, the Iowa DNR's premier resource for conservation, education, and recreation activities. Subscription information can be found online at iowadnr.gov.